Good evening, thank you for joining me. My name is Geoff Simpson. Today we're going to talk a little bit about tequila. It's a beautiful spirit. It's catching on all over the world. Now, whether you want to sell it to guests, talk about it amongst friends, or just enjoy it with family, it's great to know a little bit more about it. We're going to cover off how it started off, where it's made today, and how they're making it. Now, if we go back to the 1600s, the Spanish conquistadors came over and they're trying to take over Mexico. They run out of brandy. What do? They turn to the locals. What are they drinking? It's called pulque. So it's an agave spirit, fermented spirit, low alcohol percentage, very viscous, kind of looks like milk, very frothy, white. They weren't happy enough with that. Hernan Cortes said, no, we want something a little more refined, a little better. A little closer to the spirit that they enjoyed so much, brandy. They brought distillation in, and that started off what we know today as mezcal. Now, mezcal and tequila are often misunderstood, mixed up, or made to be interchangeable, which they're not. All tequila is mezcal, but not all mezcal is tequila. Now, the reason for that is pretty straightforward. Tequila, for example, has to be made with 100% blue agave, Tequilana Weber Blue, and it has to be made in certain places as decided by the Consejo Regulador de Tequila. We'll call it the CRT for short. Now, mezcal can be made with all types of different agaves, from Mexicano, Araqueño, Jabali, Tobala, and then the most prominent one is Espadín. But today, we're here to talk tequila. The goods, the bad. Mixto, that's the tequila you find in your early 20s and you have a really bad time with and you learn to hate tequila. It's no bueno. It's made 51% agave as a minimum, plus high fructose syrups, corn syrup, a myriad of things that you don't really want. Stay away, go for the tequila, 100% blue agave. Now, the CRT also decides where exactly that tequila has to come from. So while Guanajuato, Michoacan, Nayarit, even Tamaulipas to the east, these are all places that can be made. Well, primarily, it's going to be made in the state of Jalisco, near Guadalajara, you guessed it, by the city of Tequila. Also in Jalisco is Los Altos. Now, Los Altos is the highlands. So in the highlands, you get a little bit sweeter, higher sugar content tequila. It comes from that very tough climate of high winds, strong sun, snow sometimes in the really high altitudes. Casamigos, for example, is up about 8,500 feet, whereas Herradura is down in the valley, in the lowlands, at about 1,600 feet. Still above sea level, but much lower. Now, we've covered off where it's made and how it got started. Let's talk a little bit about how they make it. They start off by picking the perfect patch of land. Now, every bit of terroir is going to be different, be it the slope, the drainage in the soil, the type of soil, whether it's red clay. Every little part plays a big difference, just as it does with grapes for wine and different varietals. So they start off by picking a great spot that they think is going to work. Now, they plant the agave, and for several years they go along, and the jimador with his koa in hand trims it. He keeps trimming the leaves to make sure that that thing is going to grow. Each agave plant will grow fruitful, full, and ready for maturation. Maturation is about 8 to 10 years, depending on the plant, conditions, and the like. Now, once it comes time for maturation, we got some work to do. This guy, the jimador, has to trim it up, and this is a big job. They're doing this for hundreds and hundreds of agave plants. Now, they're trimming all the sharp spikes off, and what they're going to be left with is called the piña. That's kind of the heart of it. It's the meat of the plant. And this is where we're going to make a huge pile of these piñas, put them into the hornos, or the ovens. You're going to roast it slow, low and slow for quite a while. When that comes out, it's going to have turned all the carbohydrates into sugar, full juicy piñas ready to go into the pit. Now once they're there, a tahona, which is a very large stone wheel, now that's classically pulled around, or traditionally pulled around by donkeys. Nowadays a lot of it's often more mechanized, but you get the idea. And it's going to crush all these piñas and create a nice kind of mix of pulp and juice. They're going to pull the bagazo out, or strain the bagazo out, which is your waste. Now that can be used for animal feed, even paper, or it can be put back into the tequila for more flavoring by some of the companies. Once they've done that, they've got what's left as a wort. Now the wort's transferred into either wood or a steel tank and starts fermentation process. Now fermentation can take, depending on the scale of the operation, the climate, a lot of other things, it can take for 4 days, 7, 10, 11 days. It really changes. It's a lot of natural process with a little bit of control to just make sure that it's always consistent enough. They add brewer's yeast, and that's what's going to eat the sugars and turn them into alcohol. Now, once you've got to this stage and you've fermented, you're left with a very low alcohol liquid, about 6%. Now this is similar to the pulque that they were drinking back before tequila and mezcal started. So from here we'll start the distillation process. After the first distillation, you're going to get about 20%. Now that's actually already called ordinario, which is a certain type of alcohol, very cheap, easy to come by, not very good. The second distillation is going to yield you 40 to 50% alcohol. Now this is when we're getting into the very good drinkable stuff. After that second distillation, you're ready. It's ready to drink. It's what we call blanco or plata or white tequila. It's fresh, it's young, it's very fruity, vegetal, a little peppery, but it's ready to drink. Beyond this, of course, we've got the option to age it. So when it comes to tequila, you have 4 different aging options. You have blanco, which is the youngest, reposado, which is aged 60 days minimum, and then you've got añejo, which is aged a year at least. Now we've got a brand new category that's just recognized by the CRT, and that's called extra añejo, and that's aged 3 years or more, which just came into practice since March 2006. So we know how long they're aged for, we don't know how they're aged. Well, it's simple really. Like a lot of other spirits, they're done in oak barrels. So with tequila, oftentimes it'll be with old bourbon barrels. For example, Casamigos uses Gentleman Jack barrels. Patron has one so special. It's called Patron Burdeos, and it's aged in an old Bordeaux barrel. So from those barrels, you're going to get a lot of different things. You're going to get vanilla, and you're going to get smoke, you're going to get oak. It's going to do a lot of things, but overall, it's going to soften up that tequila. That young, vegetal, joven tequila is now an aged, beautiful spirit, ready to be paired with a beautiful dinner, ready to be served neat, ready to be thrown back as a shot, or mixed in the perfect cocktail. Now tequila is a lot of things. It's a very special spirit. It's a very unique spirit. It can only be made in a very small region of the world. I've given you a bit about the basics today. Now, I'd like you to go forward and take off with this. Run with it. We're talking about an export of 140 million liters of 100% blue agave tequila this year. The market in China just opened up. It's catching on all over the world. So I say, salud, enjoy.